Hello, I'm Susan Rizzo, your Albany County Comptroller, and I'm here to deliver Albany County's annual State of the Fisc. This is my third year continuing the annual tradition to discuss the financial results. I will be discussing the 2021 year-end financial results and accomplishments, the 2022 progress so far, and looking forward into the remainder of 2022. Let's start with the 2021 financial results. The required New York State annual financial report was due April 30th. This annual financial report, or AUD, also known as the AFR, was filed on time again for the third consecutive year. This was a great accomplishment by my accounting team. On slide 4, for 2021, the county's adopted budget was $720 million. The revised budget was $765 million. Even though the county's actual revenue and expenses came in below budget, expenses were controlled more. Revenues were 4.2% below budget, and expenses were down 9.8%, therefore generating a surplus. Slide 5, General Fund Comparison Year over Year. As you can see, the general fund revenue increased $73.5 million, or 13.1%, whereas expenses decreased by 7.1%. This was primarily due to stellar sales tax results, improved collection of real property taxes, and increased state and federal aid. 2021 expenses were also $42.4 million less than in 2020. As you can see on slide 6, the 2021 total fund balance is now $98.6 million, and the debt reserve is $34.8 million. Fund balance is essentially the accumulation of annual surpluses or money the county has built up for future use. These funds are used throughout the year as cash flow fluctuates each month. There was a $42.4 million increase in fund balance, largely due to increased sales tax, state and federal aid, and control expenses. Debt reserve is cash set aside that can be used to pay the principal and interest for the county's annual debt payments. After an extensive review, we have updated the county's debt reserve and presented a schedule going forward to allocate towards future debt payments. The county's increased reserves is an important metric that the credit rating agencies will view positively. Slide 7. Overall, the county has a strong financial position. In 2020, the unassigned fund balance was utilized to help the county navigate financial difficulties caused by the ongoing pandemic. In 2021, however, the unassigned fund balance recovered and increased by over $30 million to $65 million. This is the number you have been all waiting for. The unassigned fund balance is $65 million. Currently, the county's unassigned fund balance is 10.7% of the 2021 adopted budget. This is in line with the county's fund balance policy, which targets between 10% and 15% of the total general fund adopted budget. Slide 8. Another positive note is to recognize this chart, identifying the long-term debt comparison by year. I would like to point out in 2021, the overall long-term debt decreased by $7 million to $294 million, a 2.3% decrease. This is the second consecutive year that the county has controlled borrowing and reduced the county's long-term indebtedness. Overall, since the start of my tenure as comptroller, we have worked directly with management and budget to successfully help manage the county's debt burden with an overall 11.4% reduction. We created a monthly cash flow projection report to help mitigate over-borrowing. On slide 9, Albany County's ongoing pandemic recovery highlighted the unemployment rate, sales tax results, and the county's cash opportunity from the American Rescue Plan, ARPA. Slide 10, at the beginning of 2020, the county, like the rest of the nation, experienced unprecedented economic turmoil. the county's unemployment rate spiked to 13% from 3.5%. However, the county has more than recovered from the setback, and its workforce is stronger than pre-pandemic levels. Year-end 2021, the county's unemployment rate was 2.5%, a full percentage point below pre-pandemic levels. On slide 11, sales tax performance in 2021. Revenue-related factors were driven by gross sales tax, which increased by $53.8 million, or 20.3% from 2020 gross receipts. Throughout the pandemic, many people turned to online shopping and restaurant delivery or pickup. However, in 2021, COVID-related restrictions were loosened, and there was a significant increase of in-person dining and other in-person related economic activity. This was one driving cause of sales tax revenue performing beyond expectations. On slide 12, hotel occupancy tax also increased dramatically by 41% as travel restrictions were lifted. However, it should be noted, 2021's occupancy tax revenue is still nearly 30% below 2019 results. Slide 13 is regarding the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. The county was awarded $59.2 million from ARPA. The first $29.6 million was received in 2021 and was used to offset pandemic-related revenue shortfalls. The county will receive the second half in 2022 for another $29.6 million. An executive committee has been established to allocate these funds to various programs, projects, etc. Slide 14. Despite the challenges presented by the pandemic, the county maintained its strong credit rating as we are currently rated AA stable by S&P. After a thorough review of the county's debt reserve, the Comptroller's Office and the Department of Management and Budget has established a multi-year plan to utilize this debt reserve. The schedule on slide 14 is our recommendation at this point in time. This plan will alleviate the burden of making the entirety of debt service payments from the general fund. Also, the Comptroller's Office continues to focus its efforts to increase interdepartmental communication in order to develop working relationships throughout the county. Next, I would like to discuss my office audits on slide 15. The Comptroller's Office performed several audits in 2021 and in the beginning of 2022. The first audit we did was in regards to forfeiture funds at the District Attorney's Office, identifying areas for improvement. My office is currently working with the DA staff to implement and monitor corrective actions, including having all seizure fund payments reviewed and audited by the Comptroller's Office prior to disbursement. The Albany County Sheriff's Office audit of forfeiture funds has also commenced. This audit is in progress. No final determination has been made as of yet. Second audit, a review of accounts receivable, identified a lack of an accounts receivable aging report. The majority of the county's receivables were not sufficiently tracked or tracked outside of the centralized accounting system, MUNIS. My office is taking steps to migrate this from a manual process into the county's accounting system, MUNIS. 3. A review of the county's fixed assets revealed multiple assets on the county's books that no longer exist. A full fixed asset audit has not been performed in many years, nor has a written procedure for disposal and change in location been updated. 4. The audit of the Albany County Correction Facility's inmate and commissary accounts was completed. On a positive note, this audit found that the funds were accurately accounted for on a daily basis. Fifth audit, a review of the Verizon cellular account resulted in the identification of multiple inactive devices that were subsequently removed from service. The goal of this audit is to create an ongoing process that identifies and corrects these issues in a timely manner. This review is part of a larger audit of the county's procurement card program, which is currently open and ongoing. Slide 16, I will give an overview of our 2022 progress thus far. Slide 17. The topics I would like to discuss next are sales tax, ARPA, investments, and the local economic outlook. Slide 18 indicates the first quarter 2022 sales tax results. The first quarter gross sales tax revenue is 17.5% higher than the same period in 2021 at $11.7 million. I would also like to point out that 2022's first quarter is $12.5 million greater than pre-pandemic results in the first quarter of 2019. Our local economy has remained strong despite the ongoing pandemic. Slide 19. The ARPA Executive Committee has started. The members include the county executive, 4 legislative representatives, the chair, the majority and the minority leader, and the chairman of the Black Caucus, myself as the controller, and the Commissioner of Management and Budget. We started meeting and will be recommending a consultant to the legislature for approval. Subcommittees will be created to work with the public to allocate the county's second $29.6 million stimulus payment. This second payment will be received this upcoming summer 2022. The ARPA funds will be allocated to county projects, economic development, community development, and public health initiatives. The committee and all stakeholders will work diligently to ensure this one-time opportunity will be utilized to the maximum benefit of the county and its residents. The plan will be presented to the legislature. Slide 20 is regarding the county's cash investments. The Comptroller's Office and the Department of Management and Budget closely monitor interest rates throughout the pandemic. In March 2022, the Investment Advisory Board was resurrected. The Commissioner of Management and Budget and the Comptroller started actively investing again for the first time since March 2020. Currently, the county is investing in treasury bills of varying maturities and money market savings accounts. Now we are working with New York Class and New York Class Prime. These are actively managed funds that invest in short-term, low-risk, high-liquid investments designed for the public sector. We are anticipating approximately $700,000 in interest for 2022 compared to $230,000 in 2021. As part of the new banking services contract with M&T Bank, because of my private sector experience, I negotiated interest earnings on all of the county's cash deposits, including the compensating balance, not just its money market savings accounts. We get interest income on checking as well now. As interest rates continue to rise, Commissioner Riley and I will work together to maximize the county's interest income. This includes meeting with bank personnel periodically to discuss the interest rates on the county's cash deposits. Slide 21. Next, I would like to highlight developments in the local economy. The Advanced Albany County Alliance is a newly established local development corporation. It has identified over 100 sites within Albany County that are positioned for potential development projects. Recent high-profile projects included the new 350,000 square foot Plug Power hydrogen fuel cell manufacturing plant that will be located in the towns of Bethlehem and New Scotland. This manufacturing facility will have 1,600 permanent jobs when completed. Additionally, the Alliance has worked with the African American Cultural Center of the Capital Region to open a grocery store in the city of Albany's South End. The Cultural Center purchased the former McDonald's location at the intersection of South Pearl Street and Madison Avenue, and is working to eliminate the food desert that exists in the South End. The offshore wind tower manufacturing facility at the Port of Albany is another significant active project. Although not originated by the Alliance, it is a $235 million project with 550 jobs at the plant when completed. 3 other non-Alliance projects are the historic renovation of the warehouse at Huck Finn, the proposed Costco in Guilderland, and the redevelopment of the Central Warehouse in downtown Albany. The fact that these large, challenging projects are happening independently from the Alliance is a resounding endorsement of the county's economy and future local outlook. Travel has also increased with the lifting of certain pandemic restrictions, as evidenced by a large increase of activity at the Albany International Airport. The airport is serving approximately 4,000 passengers daily. This is 90% of pre-pandemic levels. Slide 22, I would like to discuss my role as the public administrator. As the county controller, I'm appointed by the surrogate court as the public administrator to handle some decedent estates. These can be the estates of persons that die without a will, without heirs to settle their affairs, or heirs that do not want to handle their affairs. Many county municipalities are unaware of this role, which has led to many abandoned properties throughout the county and has contributed to blight. Some of the coroners were not even aware of my role. Since I started in 2020, I have notified some individual municipalities of the controller's responsibility so that when it discovers an abandoned property with a deceased owner, the necessary steps are taken. As controller, I'm actively working to prevent additional blight. I've established a proactive effort. Without this effort, the properties of decedents could sit unattended for years. Already, I have recovered approximately $200,000 of delinquent property taxes from the intestate decedents. Slide 23. Let's look forward into the remainder of 2022 and discuss my goals as the Albany County Controller. Slide 24. Within the Controller's Office, I continued to review staffing and implemented a workforce development plan. We have implemented annual evaluations with our staff to discuss goals, needs, and aspirations. We encourage continuing education and certifications. For example, our Chief Auditor has completed the Certified Fraud Examiner, CFE, training and certification. Additional cross-training initiatives are being pursued by Controller staff members. A key lesson learned from the pandemic and my first 2 years as Controller is that there needs to be succession planning and sufficient backups for all positions. My office is committed to continuing to increase communication and trust throughout the county departments, continuing departmental audits, and working towards maximizing the county's interest income with the Commissioner of Management and Budget. In conclusion, I will leave you with the following. I knew that in 2020, my first year as Comptroller, I needed to hit the ground running. I knew it would be challenging, and I recruited an exceptional team to meet this challenge head-on. However, the pandemic threw a wrench into the operations of all local governments. My team and all county departments rose to the occasion and excelled despite challenging and unprecedented circumstances. As we move towards a new normal, I know that Albany County will continue to provide top-tier level of service to its residents and taxpayers. Although the county has rebounded well from the pandemic, I do want to point out we are not entirely out of the woods financially. As you are all aware, the nation has hit a 40-year high inflationary rate of 7.9%. High inflation can lead to economic recession that results in an increase in expenses, higher unemployment, and larger borrowing costs. The increase we have seen in our unassigned fund balance has put us where we need to be to weather another economic downturn if that were to happen. This concludes my presentation of the State of the Fisc.